this ain't it. And then it's just more like, F you to everybody and everybody named Mama. Hi, babies. Welcome back to Her Vibes. My name is Liliana Love, and welcome. I'm back.
I took over a year off and cut you bitches some slack. Tell a friend to tell a friend. She's back.
And like, that's literally has been in my head. And like, as soon as I started prepping for this, I was like, dun, 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 dun. Anyway, I am so happy. Guys, I'm back. Anyway, but real talk though, I'm really happy to be back. Welcome back to Her Vibes. It's been a while since I uploaded. Life has been lifing, and I'm not gonna lie, I low-key kind of struggle what to talk about, and today I just want to talk about how to enter your villain era and honestly and truly stop being a people pleaser. Yeah, like, and the reason I say villain era is because when you stop becoming a people pleaser and stop making sure everyone else is okay, then people start seeing you as the villain. And I'm like, hold up, Pero, like, you didn't see me as the superhero when I was doing everything for you, but the moment you say no is when people's true colors come out and they start seeing you different light, 'cause no longer being that person for them, their go-to person all the time. So I don't know about you, but 2024, we just had an eclipse coming up. The whole world's being shaken up right now. It's time to end that people pleasing and time to just let it go. And so in this video, we're going to talk about how to stop being a people pleaser and how to really get over it so you can live your best life. You ever watch a TV show and the character in the show is getting their ass kicked, whooped again and again and again, and they just cannot seem to just like have a good day until something traumatic happens or something just unlocks, and all of a sudden they go like super saiyan and they get their true superpowers and they just start whooping everyone's ass. That's what it's like when you become an ex people pleaser. You'll take years and years of just everyone else's issues, everyone else's insecurities, everyone else's problems until you get to a point. And it's like you just snap. And I'm not saying like in a bad way, like you're about to go crazy and just everyone. No. It's like you get to a point where I swear like your soul can't take it anymore. And then you're just like, alrighty, this ain't it. And then it's just more like, F you to everybody and everybody named Mama. And it's just like at that point, now you're the villain. But no, that's like, take it from me, from a diary of an ex people pleaser. It sucks. It sucks when you realize that everything you've been trying to do to make other people happy is not going to work out. Because to be quite honest, you can't fix everyone. Honestly and truly, you can't fix everyone. A lot of people need to fix themselves. You can be there for people, that which is true, but it gets to a point where people gotta take accountability for their own lives, and you just being a people pleaser is not gonna help them take accountability. Because when you're a people pleaser, like, let's be honest, you have a lack of boundaries because you're letting people overstep on you. You're not allowing people to take accountability for themselves, so therefore, in a way, you're kind of like holding them back, you know? And then you're also leading yourself into stagnancy and not going after what you want to go after. So it's not really a great thing to be a people pleaser, in all honesty. I know, as women, I feel like we have this innate nature to constantly make sure our fellow communities, whether that's our friends, family, lovers, are okay at the risk, at the sacrifice, I should say, of our own soul, our own self. I don't know why. I don't know why it's just a nurture versus nature thing that we have going on. But let's be quite honest. How many of us have truly put aside our happiness and goals and idealizations for other people? Ain't gonna lie, I have. But has it been worth it in the long run? I don't think so. Or else you really, or else you wouldn't be watching this video with me. Like, let's be honest. Because you know deep down, it's not going to serve you in the long run. Here at Her Vibes, it's all about becoming your ideal version of her. Who is your ideal version of yourself? That's what Her Vibes is all about. And being a people pleaser is not going to get to that ideal version of you. Yeah, going back to that superhero, like, as I mentioned, you know, when some people, they get that superpowers, they break that breaking point and start kicking ass. A lot of us women don't really get to that point. We just continue to just grind our teeth, bite down, and let ass literally fuck us over and over. And it's just all in the nature of what? Being a woman, all in the caring nature that we have. But even so, that in of itself is an imbalance. It's like that caring mother archetype. You can be a nice, caring, doleful mother, but if you go overboard, you're all of a sudden you're overbearing, you're controlling. It's that nature of people pleasing. I get it. You want to make sure everyone around is happy. I fully understand that. But it gets to a point where it goes from pouring into others, and the extreme part of that is your cup is now empty. Your cup is now empty because you have poured out too much and not refilled yourself, and you're not also been around others who can also give back. So I didn't want to say, I know someone's like, oh, well, you're saying like, you should only be around people who treat you well. Yeah, low-key you should. Like, that's the whole gist of it. People please, and I feel like most of our relationship in humans is like a give and get relationship. When you're a people pleaser, it's now parasitic. Something is attached to you, someone is attached to you, and they're sucking and sucking and sucking because you keep on giving and giving and giving. And what happens to the host of the parasite, of the relationship, the parasitic relationship, is now left sucked and dry. And I just don't, sometimes as women, it's like we had to get to that breaking point. We had to either force ourselves there, or we had to open up and realize that it's not worth it. It is not worth it making sure everyone else is happy. And you're not pouring that same love back into yourself. It really and truly isn't worth it. And when you people pleaser, you end up getting fucked over. Honestly, you end up letting life fuck you over with no remorse, no sympathy, nothing. Harsh, yes, but has to be said. You're left tired and fucked in a bad way, not in a good way. And I'm not too sure about you, but life is way too pleasurable to not be enjoying the pleasures. Not to be given to other people and letting them enjoy it while you're just in the background suffering. In my case, most of my energy went to making sure other people were happy, making sure I didn't overstep invisible boundaries that honestly were not even supposed to be there, making sure I don't overstep or overshadow someone else's life path just because I didn't want to let my life path shine over others. It sucks. It honestly and truly sucks when you realize it. When you realize that everything you've been doing to make other people happy is not worth it. It is not worth it at all. Making sure I don't overstep, silence insecurities because people are too afraid to take accountability of their own actions, of their own life paths, of their own choices. That's what it's like being a people pleaser. I'm making sure you are okay because your insecurities are pushing through and bleeding into other parts of your life. And I'm making sure I put myself down to make you happy. At the end of the day, you gotta make yourself happy. And you cannot control other people's happiness. That's the honest truth. In my case, as a people pleaser, I became depleted. I lost my purpose. I let their opinions overshadow me. It clouded my judgment. And in the end, I was depleted. My cup was brittle and dry. There was nothing else to come in. I could refill it with temptations or just random little moments, but nothing was making that cup full of water, the source of my energy again. And I got to my breaking point. And I would more so say a realization that most people aren't shit. That'll be for another video. I think I talked in the previous one, but yeah, people really ain't shit. People really ain't about it. If you really, it's not worth it being a people pleaser in the long run. And it's bittersweet. It's the journey of being a people pleaser, a journey of just self-growth is bittersweet. Because it's bitter, because it hurts being looked over and taken advantage of and not being respected at all as a people pleaser. But the sweet part is when you realize that this is a cycle that you can break. It's a toxic cycle that you can just break and just get out of it. And in my case, I just realized that everything I sacrificed for the people, they weren't worth it. They didn't appreciate my sacrifice. They treated me worse because of my loyalty to them. And worst of all, the worst thing of all is that they didn't change. That's the most frustrating part. It's like you sacrifice everything. You make sure they're happy, they're content, and it's just consistent negative behavior. No change. And you're like, oh, if I just love them a little bit harder, if I don't make them upset, or I make sure they're always okay and happy, they'll get better. And it's that hope, people. It's that hope that leads you on onto a path of nothingness and despair. And a little bit of regret, but it's like, oh, they're gonna change. They're not gonna change. You cannot force people to change. You cannot fix people. I don't know why as women I feel like a lot of us have this pressure, this calling to always want to fix people, especially like fix men, but sometimes you can fix other people like family, community, friends, whatever. It's not our job to fix people. Honestly, we're not all therapists. A lot of people need therapy. And here's a hard fact too. A lot of people don't want to change unless they want to. It's like being in a toxic relationship with like an ex-lover or a narcissist. The same bad behavior and over, but they're not going to change until they feel they want to. Unless they feel, all right, well, time to switch it up. And meanwhile, you're over there pouring out your love, pouring out your soul, pouring out everything to get this person to change and be who they need you to be, but you're not even be what you want to be for yourself. And through all of this, letting myself down, letting my own path down, not going after my goals and being a people pleaser, I don't even know what's the most insulting part. The fact that I allowed it to happen, or that other people were willing to take advantage of me. Take advantage of me. And they both hurt. They both honestly hurt. I allowed this mistreatment to continue. I allowed it to happen to me. And I had to take accountability myself. And I just said, you know what? It's not worth it. And this happened to me a couple of times. I remember this happened to me growing up. I was such a big nerd. Still am. And I used to let anyone copy my homework. I felt bad. I'm like, oh, they probably didn't get time to study. But I was like, no, we all have the same 24 hours. What were they doing? And I remember I let someone cheat on my test. And I didn't think they were going to copy every answer, like, to the T. I was like, you could have switched up a little, but, like, every answer they copied. And I got 100 on that test. I got 100. And my teacher at the time, she pulled me over. She was a black woman. Sometimes you never know how elders will shape you. And she pulled me over and she was like, you're one of the smartest students in this class, but do not let someone drag you down. And she was like, I know they copied off of you. You got 100. But in this case, I'm going to teach you a lesson and I'm going to give you a 0%. Because not only did you allow them to cheat off of you, you knew the risk and you cannot make everyone happy. You cannot let them pressure you into going against your beliefs. And I tried telling, I felt bad. She's like, no. They had a chance to study. They didn't. Now they're trying to use you because of your intelligence and leech off of you. And I was like, and that hurt. For me, that hurt. I was like, a 0? Like, girl, I have straight A's. My first time I ever failed. But I failed because I allowed someone to, like she said, leech off of me. and claim my energy, my intelligence, my success as their own. When you're a people pleaser, it hurts. But as women especially, we have to focus on nurturing ourselves. Yes, children and lovers and people come at the end of the day, but we as women need more self-love. We need a tad bit more selfishness, not to a narcissistic kind of way, or not to like an egotistical, like fuck everybody, that's all about me. No, we need a bit of healthy, like it says about balance. We need a healthy balance of loving ourselves and also loving others. And that's also where boundaries come in, to also know, hey, you know what? I'm doing too much because they're taking too much out of me, or I'm allowing this to, I'm not enforcing my boundaries. And later in my life, I got to another breaking point where I just kind of like, this past couple of years has been a breaking point, and I'm just like, wow, y'all ain't shit, like honestly and truly. And I've always been an empathetic person. I've always want to see people to the greatest ability. I've always want to see people go to their best potential. But even I had to realize that, like, you can give people as much grace as you want, but if they're not even changing, or they're not accepting that grace, or making a different life path, and they're still going on the same path of destruction, it's not worth it. It's not worth it in the end to drag yourself down just because you want to make sure everyone's happy. Because then what happens to when they drag you down? Now we both stuck at the bottom like, oh well, no. The fuck? Tip 1 and how to stop being a people pleaser. Just realize that the sacrifices you're making aren't worth it. People will change when they're ready. And you cannot force anyone to change. You cannot fix everyone. You are not Superwoman. Alright? We are not... what's that chick? Superwoman and Wonder Woman. It's Wonder Woman, sorry. We're not Wonder Woman. My bad, girl. You can't save everyone. And okay, look at Wonder Woman. If you really are a comic book nerd, she was throwing hands. Like, Wonder Woman said, I have no enemies. Like, she ain't like Batman who's gonna save her enemy. She was like, nah, I put them in the grave and I keep them there. That's... I'm sorry. Oh no, I just thought about that. Like, she was kicking ass. But no, for real. And I always say it's like the energy of goddess and goddesses. It's a balance. They have a nurturing side and they have a ruthless side. They have a balance. They learn a balance. And a lot of us, when you're a people pleaser, the balance, this is you. This is your love. And it's low. Like, it has to be a balance, and it's not. When you have to recognize that you're a people pleaser. And a lot of time you low-key know. I low-key knew what I was doing for years. I knew I was being people pleaser. I knew I was putting people before myself for the longest time. And you have to come to that realization and say, you know what I'm doing currently at this current moment is no longer serving me. Me putting people in front of myself constantly all the time, putting aside my dreams, my hopes, my aspirations, my life goals, my life purpose, is not going to serve me, because it's not going to serve me, nor is it going to serve everyone else around you. And that has to be broken. That has to be stopped so you can live your best life, babe. Because let me tell you, living through that people pleasing stage, you're not gonna see no progress. You may see a little hope, a little slitter of like a glimmer of hope in the future there, but it's not gonna be exactly what it is. You have to realize that what you're doing is just gonna lead to your own downfall. You are pouring out of an empty cup that has probably been empty for some while now. It is time for you to grab that cup back from everyone else and go refill it in the fountain of energy, of pouring back into yourself. And that's the truth. That is something that needs to be heard. I don't know who this video is for, but someone out there needs to hear. It's time for you to stop putting other people before yourself. And I know as a woman, especially as a person, you get pressured by family, friends, lovers to do certain things to make other people happy. Follow this career path and because you want to make sure, oh, I want to make sure they feel proud of me. They feel, and that's the thing too. People please, and you feel this attachment, this urge to feel proudness. Like, oh, they feel proud of me. Oh, I'm doing such a good job. Like that good girl thing. Ain't gonna lie, I hate when people call me good girl. It triggers me. I'm like, good? Let me show you what a bad bitch does. Like I just want to be petty for no reason. Like, but honestly, no. Sorry, it's the truth. It honestly is the truth. You get to the point, it's like, cause if you always been the good girl, or you always done people pleaser, you hear that a lot. Like you hear affirmation, like, oh, you're just a good job. Oh, thank you. Like, and it's like, it gets to a breaking point where you snap and you're like, don't say it. I don't want to hear nothing. I ain't no good girl. But you have to realize it, and it sucks. That's why I say all the time, it's bittersweet. And it's bitter because like you realize all the pain you put yourself through, all of the agony, the stress, everything. And it truly wasn't worth it, especially on people who were not worth it. You would sacrifice parts of yourself for people who weren't worth it. And it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. And that's the bitter part. And the sweet part is when you realize that you can fix it. This moves on to the next step, is to stop being a people pleaser. You gotta enter your villain era. And by villain era, I don't mean going around smashing up cars and throwing bodies all over the place and throwing hands and no. It's the boundaries. I know, the capital B word, boundaries. We have to start establishing boundaries. You have to start saying no more often. And a lot of people are not gonna like when you start saying no. I'm not gonna do this for you. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna make sure that works out for you. They're gonna turn against you because now you're gonna be the villain. Instead of the superhero, you're gonna be the bad guy. And that's how it goes. Because people, when they get used to you constantly saying yes or doing everything to make them happy, the moment you say no, that's when another side comes out. You're gonna see the greed, the anger, the like, oh, how dare you, the audacity, because they're gonna feel entitled to your energy because you will let them be entitled to your energy. And that, woo, I don't even know how to tell y'all to prepare for it. That's why I make this video, but it'll come. It comes to being people pleaser, especially doing it for a long time. You're gonna be a villain. And that's the fact about someone's life. You're gonna be the villain in someone's story. I said in a previous video, you can be, you can't make everyone happy, honestly. That's why I said in the previous video how not to give a fuck about people. People are always gonna have opinions, because you cannot always make people happy. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can be the world's juiciest fruit. Like, one bite of you a peach, cures everything, instant youth, whatever, yada, like all of it. There's gonna be someone out there who is upset that you are a peach and not their favorite fruit, like an apple or pineapple. It's the truth. You cannot make people happy, and you cannot force people to change, and you cannot lead them to happiness, because at the end of the day, a lot of people's own happiness and change comes from within them. It comes within them. And not a lot of people are willing to change. And a lot of people really need therapy, honestly, but that's another story. And you have to establish boundaries. Instead of always being that friend that is a therapist, you gotta say no. Like, you never hear my concerns. You never ask me how my life is doing. You never ask me if I need a shoulder to cry on, but you're always there for other people. It's gonna get to the point where it's gonna hurt. You gotta establish that boundary. I don't know why, as adults or like Gen Z, millennials, or I don't know what's the one before that. What's the other one before that? X. People don't talk. I realize that people suck at communication. People are so afraid to affirm themselves, establish boundaries, because they're afraid of also being unloved, or they're afraid of losing someone. Babe, if you had to establish a boundary and tell someone, I don't appreciate you doing that, or I wish you would look out for me more, and they get upset, they were never meant for you. these people were not meant to be in your life if it gets to that point. And that even goes to family and friends too, and lovers. If someone gets upset at you for establishing a boundary, cut them. Let's go. They gotta go because they no longer serve you. And you always hear people talk about on their level up journey, like to become an ideal version of her, you gotta let go of things that no longer serve you. Things like bad habits, actions, making the wrong mistakes, but letting things go also include people. And if you're establishing boundaries and people won't accept them, then you cannot keep them in your life. And that's it. Is also too. It's a hard thing to change when you're a people pleaser because you're so used to it. But it's a necessary change. It's a necessary part. It's a necessary thing to move on and step into your best version of yourself. Being a people pleaser at the end of the day will never be worth it at the sacrifice of your own self, your own happiness, your own soul, everything. It's not going to be worth it in the end, long run, babe. And not only do you have to establish boundaries, you just have to reassess what you want out of life and tap back into who you are as a person. Because to heal after years of being a people pleaser, that's a process too. It's like getting out of a toxic relationship. Now you have to go back and say, who am I? You know, outside of always being there for everyone, who am I now? And you gotta start the healing process. You gotta enter your healing era, pouring back into yourself, more self-love, taking yourself out on dates, seeing the world with a new pair of eyes, and eyes strong with boundaries and love for yourself. At the end of the day, it's never going to be worth it being a people pleaser. And as I said, you do a disservice to yourself and others by being one to begin with. You not only stagnate your own growth, but also the growth of others. Because at the end of the day, when you're around a whole bunch of people and no one's keeping everyone accountable, not even keeping themselves accountable, is that really a way to live life? Is that really a way to grow into your purpose and be your best version of yourself? And it's going to be hurt. You're going to have to stand firm in your boundaries because you're going to get some pushback. You're going to get a lot of pushback when you start applying boundaries. And it's not going to be fun. There may be some hurtful words, truth. A lot of time people's true feelings are going to come out. And that's what I'm trying to figure out earlier how to say. A lot of people's true feelings for you are going to come out when you start establishing boundaries and stop being a people pleaser. Because at that point, that's when you're really going to see them for who they really are. And at that point, you can say, I don't like this, and I'm going to move on, and I got to do me. And it sucks. It sucks. Being one to begin with. It's not fetch. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. No, for real though. It ain't it. It's not giving what's supposed to give. It never have, never will be. It's never gonna do what it needs to do. Cause if you want to be the best version of yourself, baby, you have to establish firm boundaries. You have to stand in your truth. And you have to be unwavering in everything that encompasses who you are. And I know. Sometimes we got daddy issues. Sometimes we have mommy issues. Sometimes a combo of both. Sometimes it's low self-esteem. Sometimes it's a lack of proper mental health. Whatever. It's a whole bunch of reasons why a lot of people are people pleasers. But it ain't gonna end well, boo-boo. Not really. And if you really look at really people who made it big and accomplished all their goals, I'm not talking about like celebrity, I'm talking about like anyone successful. They didn't get to the top by being a people pleaser. Now, ass kissing, some people do. That's not even people pleasing. That's just being a front, just to, I love you. But real talk, they have a different objective behind the scenes. But if you really observe people who are successful, they don't really get there by being people pleasers, because people pleasers, again, have a lack of boundary. And you don't get to be the best version of yourself when you let everyone take a hard piece of you. Like a puzzle. If you give everyone a piece of the puzzle, it'll never be completed. They're giving and giving and giving, then you have one little piece and you're like, well, the puzzle's completed. Let's take off the rose-colored glasses and let's be real. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of being left out. I'm tired of being abused, mistreated, taken advantage of, not feeling happy because I gotta make other people happy. It ain't it. It ain't it. And let me tell you on a little secret, babe. It's so much fun when you're the villain. Ooh, it's so much fun. You're just feeling bad. You're like, oh yeah, the world is literally my oyster. This is what I was missing out on to make Timbuktu Sally and Big Bag Barika happy. Is this what I was missing out on to make those people happy? When they ain't got their shit together? When they're still in the same spot that they were the first time you met them, or the first time you were a part of the family, or the first time you ever loved them? The same position, still complaining, not happy? You get there and you're just like, man, like you just want to everybody and their mama and everything, because it's not like you're like, yeah, whatever. No, real talk. Fuck all y'all. But that's the truth. That's the truth. You gotta get to that point. You gotta, and to anyone who's watching, you're thinking of being that person, it's not worth it. You have to be that villain for your own self-worth. You have to be that villain to some people's stories. You gotta tell them, I can't do anything for you. I can't always go out my way. I can't put aside who I am to make sure that you're happy. It ain't never gonna be worth it. It's never, ever going to be worth it. Time to step into your power, babe. It's time to stop letting people drain you. It's time to stop putting other people before yourself. And when I say that, I know someone's going to be like, oh, you're telling people to be selfish. To an extent, yes. I do believe people should be more selfish, but not to the point where it's a downfall of other people or it just leads down a negative behavioral path. No. I think everyone should have a little bit of self-care. That's what I mean. In the term of selfish, like, you have to learn to not put yourself in situations or surroundings that's going to just lead to a bad outcome. That's what I mean by being selfish. Like, constantly putting people in front of you is not going to lead to a positive outcome. It's going to lead to a negative one, and you're at the end of that negativity. You're at the end of that stick. You got the short end, and it's up your ass. Cause everyone walk around the pole, you want up on the pole, just, oh, look at this, no, do this, do that, like, trying to pull that shit out and live your life. Sorry, this is not. It's like rated R, like, but it's the truth. And all right, babe, that's the end of my video. I'm so happy. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, honestly, live your life. Live your life. You only have one life to live. Enjoy it. Don't give it away, making sure everyone else is happy. And you're not serving yourself at the end of the day. You're not going after your goals. You're not nurturing yourself. It's okay to pour into others, but make sure you're pouring more than double that into yourself. Make sure you're pouring love back into you. And don't let your cup be dry and brittle. It's okay to be a little bit selfish. It's okay to have some self-love. It's okay to say no. Establish those boundaries, and we gonna level up, babe. All right, and I hope y'all enjoyed this video. To catch y'all in the next one. I'm so excited. Please comment down below and tell me, what was your breaking point as a people pleaser, as an ex people pleaser? Let me know. And until then, it's Liliana Love signing off, and I will catch y'all in my next video. Bye.